Until noon, you're listening to Neil Mitchell.
Now, I'd reckon Bob Jane's one of the best-known people in Victoria, probably Australia. Four-time Australian touring car champion, V8 Supercar Hall of Fame, businessman, Bob Jane Tyre Marts over the years. He has been, a leader in the community for a long time, and very well recognised in the community for a long time. Over recent years, his life seems to have unravelled. He's had health problems. He's 83 years old. He's lost a fortune, disputes with his family. I saw him outside the court the other day asked whether there's any chance of reconciling with his son. He said, no, none. I thought that was sad. He's in the studio with me. Bob Jane, good morning.
Good morning, Neil.
Lost a fortune, lost a lot of your family. How did it come to all this?
Well, I had a stroke in '06, a major stroke, and wasn't expected to live under an operation. And a certain people, my son took advantage of me and a number of other people.
How much have you lost? A lot of money?
Only about $500 million, that's all.
500 million, really?
At least, yes.
How do you feel about that?
I don't really. Money is a tool. As long as we've got enough to eat, and we're breathing, I think it's an important thing in life.
How are you surviving now?
I'm surviving okay.
But you got enough money to live.
Yes.
Half a billion dollars. That's extraordinary. You've also had all these personal issues with family members. Is that more hurtful when you just split with a wife, a son?
Well, I split with my wife, which was a sad thing, really, and I have reconciled with Laree, and my life is now back with my wife and my children. Well, my ex-wife, my former wife, and the quality of life there is good. I must say that I allege that my son, Rodney Bruce Jane, he expected me to die, and I allege he made some changes to trusts and things that were in my company structure.
Because I'm sure he challenges all these things. I don't want to go into the legalities of it all. I was looking at the personal aspects of it. To have such an intense dispute with one of your children, and we've seen some similar things with Gina Reinhardt, but such an intense dispute with one of your children must be hurtful, isn't it?
Well, hurtful, yes, I don't deny it's hurtful. But it's also, I've got to deal with it naturally. I want to be practical about life. At the moment, I'm sitting on a $55 million writ from my son.
He has issued a writ for $55 million?
Yes.
When did that happen?
2 days ago.
And what's the basis of that?
A loan one company made to another company, and very complicated, so...
All right. I assume you haven't got $55 million?
No, unfortunately not, no.
But what is more hurtful? Is it the financial situation, or is it... You should always be talking to your son, shouldn't you? Ideally.
Well, one would think so, yes. Well, I've got another son, and of course I'll talk to him, naturally. Rodney is... anyway, I allege what I allege, and I'll deal with that as best I can.
Well, that's fair enough. But when I saw you outside the court saying no chance of reconciliation, you're quite sure of that?
Yes, I am sure of that, Neil. It's not a matter of... I teach my kids not to hate anybody or not to... and God says forgive. And I believe in all those very strongly. But when you've been run over and then backed over by your son, well, then... there's no chance of reconciliation, because it's not just I allege my son, it's a whole bunch of other people working with. It's about money, Neil.
But that's my point. And you just said money's only a tool. Money's not worth breaking up families, is it?
Well, in my life, no, but in other people's life, yes.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. What are you doing? How's your health? I mean, your eyes are clear, you're moving well, but how do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I'm, as you said, 83. I had a stroke in '06. It's now 5 years later. I'm getting better from my stroke. My memory's returning. I'm relearning many things. So in that way, I'm quite happy.
What do you want to achieve in the future? What What are your aims now? You've always been very driven, man, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Well, let's go back a step. What drove you? It was to win car races. It was to be a great car racer. Then business?
Well, no, it came very funny. I was a bike rider initially, and I did very well on the bush bikes at North Essendon Board Track. I got very fit. I went wood cutting and got fitter. I then went motor racing because the bike was too hard. Motor racing, I love motor racing. I went motor racing because I had enough money to buy a Maserati, and I went racing in the Grand Prix in 1958. It gave me a name, a brand. Bob Jane T-Marts is a brand, or Bob Jane's a brand, as you would well know. Bob Jane, as a brand, deals with maybe 3 million people a year in buying tyres around Australia. And they like the name, they like the brand, and we've built a great, say, empire of tyres. It's still there and still operating. I still earn money with tyres and equipment, and do other things like with Christian things like health.
Well, you're 83, and a lot of people say time to put your feet up. Is it time to put the feet up, relax a bit?
No, not really. Well, I don't. We used the word before, Neil, driven. So when you're driven to get out of bed, you're driven to go to work, you're driven to do things, and opportunities arise, and you take the opportunity to deal with those things.
What are you driven to do now at 80? What do you want to achieve in the next years?
Well, one of the important things in my life at the moment is, might sound strange to a lot of people, but I've survived with cancer from about 97.
It was prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer, yes, and I was given 2 years to live, and I've survived, obviously. About 16 years with prostate cancer, and I found out the way to solve that cancer. I've helped hundreds of people quietly, and I'm writing a little book at the moment on that to help certain people that I know. Everyone I talk to has got a friend who's got a problem with cancer, like cancer of prostate or breast cancer, or some form of cancer. And funnily enough, we spend billions of dollars on medicine, and yet God gives us the answer in natural foods.
All right, that's one of your focuses. What else? What else? You've got, you're 83. With the luck, you've got 20 years left. Who knows? Do you want to reconcile with your family, with your son?
No, I don't.
Because you wouldn't want to leave the planet with that sort of problem, would you?
Well, as I said to you before, Neil, when someone runs over you on purpose, I'm using this as an analogy, of course. Of course, yeah. And then backs over you, then make sure you're dead. I don't feel like forgiving that.
Okay. I read that from a report a month ago, the tax office was after $1.5 million from you. Is that still the case?
No, the tax is after me for about $100 million.
$100 million?
Yes, sir.
You're in Paul Hogan territory.
I am.
So is that sorted, or do they really want $100 million out of you?
Well, they did, and they do. I believe that with discussions and evidence I've been able to produce to the ATO, that they realise what has occurred in my life, and I can't say with certainty anything, but I rather feel that they are not off my case, but understand my problem or the issue.
You still drive?
Yes, I do.
Do you still like driving?
Yes, I do.
What do you drive?
I drive a Mercedes-Benz. I had it for 5 or 6 years. I also drive a Prado, a 4-wheel drive on day to day.
You got any of your old racing cars still?
A couple.
Yeah, but I assume they don't still go around, do they? Anyway.
Not really. No, they're like me, mate. They're historic cars.
What are the lessons? All these difficulties you've had. I mean, and I just repeat the point. At your age, you should be just wallow in your success and do what you like. What are the lessons in your life, do you think?
Well, I'm not sure what the lessons are. The lessons are I trust in God. I trust people as a general rule. I mean, that's a foolish. My son thinks that's a foolish. When I talk about my son, I'm talking about Roddy Jane. He thinks you trust nobody, but I trust people. That's a bit of a hazard, I suppose, in the world we live in today, because money is an incentive for murder, rape, and pillage, as we all know, and it motivates people to do the wrong thing, perhaps more often than not.
How'd you like to be starting all over again?
I'd love to.
25 again.
Well, then you live a different life, wouldn't you?
Well, good luck. Thank you very much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Bob Jane.